This is kind of ridiculous, but when I was young, when I was a teenager, adolescent, I read Cat on a Hot Tin Roof by Tennessee Williams, and there's a character called Brick who's a kind of closeted gay man married to Maggie the cat. And I think I deeply identified with Brick, even though I don't think that identification would be obvious to anyone else. But for a while, I tried to get people to call me Brick. I wanted it to be my nickname. It never stuck. There's another character in that play called Skipper, who's much more flamboyant. And that's the name that people called me. My name is Justin Torres. I'm an author. I'm also a teacher. And I'm 36. My perfect idea of happiness. I suppose I don't expect happiness. So I don't really tend to think about it too much. It seems something quite fleeting. And I think that there will be pain and suffering. So when happiness appears, I try to make the most of it, but I don't have a plan of how to make it a permanent fixture in my life. The living person that I most admire is probably my partner, David Russell, my man, my boyfriend. That's an easy one, I guess, because that's the way it should be, I suppose. And I think I'm quite fortunate that that's the way it is for me. I think that I'm fortunate to have friends, deep friendships that feels like family, a kind of queer family. And I think that that is probably my greatest achievement, are my friendships. Yeah. My greatest fear is, I suppose, death. But I don't know. I guess I'm not that afraid of death. I don't know. I'm afraid of everything all the time. But I don't know if there's anything that jumps out to mind. I guess maybe loneliness, isolation, madness, Alzheimer's. When I think of virtues, I tend to think of their lack in the world. I tend to think of how much I wish that people were acting. Well, I suppose in America, there's an idea of being self-made, of pulling up yourself by the bootstraps, of a kind of self-invention that I think is, for me, it's not a virtue, but I think it's held up as a virtue, and I think it's incredibly overrated. I think that we're all quite vulnerable, and we all depend on each other immensely, and that we should make that dependence a virtue, and that we should make supporting one another a virtue, and that this kind of go it alone entrepreneurial spirit is incredibly overrated. Yeah. I don't really envy anybody. I mean, no. I just don't think along those terms. I mean, no, absolutely not. I don't. Everybody's stuck with themselves. You know, I'm sure that the inside of anyone else's mind who seems to have everything on the outside, I'm sure that they're as racked by self-doubt and fear as anybody else. No, I've got my life. It's mine. I wouldn't trade it. I'm kind of blissed out. I think that I've had a wonderful time this last week here in Bogotá. And I didn't really expect to. Not that I expected it to be horrible, but I travel a fair amount and I go to festivals a fair amount, and I don't know. This has been different. So I guess I'm feeling really appreciative, really appreciative of the kindness I've been shown. Well, I suppose that in my case, I took a great amount of pain and I made art with it. And it's not like the pain is gone, but I did something with it. And if it's going to be there with me all the time anyway, I might as well do something with it. And so I think that's kind of a great thing about writing a book is kind of engaging with pain rather than just feeling it or letting it crush you or trying to forget about it. The thing that I like to do when I'm writing that calms me and excites me is to just dance around in my underwear. I mean, I put on a lot of different kinds of music when I'm writing. I don't know why I'm always in my underwear, but I am. And I dance. And sometimes it's very somber, depressing, kind of beautiful music. And sometimes it's fun and upbeat. But I try and kind of work myself into a bit of a frenzy in whatever emotional state I need to be in order to write the scene I'm writing. Yeah, it's fun. What is my favorite animal? I don't know. I think I quite like sloths. I think I would say a sloth. I was always fascinated with sloths as a child. I remember like reading at the zoo that they move so slowly that like moss and algae and things grow in their fur. And I thought that was amazing. I wanted to move that slow. I've never been allowed to move that slowly. There's so much kind of passion and instinct. There's so much that is primal inside of us. So many of the joys, the great joys of my life are animal joys. Food and sex and play. Yeah. The best thing about being queer in a macho society is just about everything. I mean, I think that masculinity, there's a certain kind of masculinity, especially in the culture I grew up in, that seems so limiting. It seems as if so much is off limits, so much kind of vulnerability and tenderness and kindness and weirdness, and I feel like being queer, I just don't have to engage with all that. I don't have to. Yeah, it's great. It's great. I recommend it for everyone, and that's my life's mission, to queer everybody.